All right, welcome to the latest installment of Raising Funds for World Domination. And congratulations to NHHVHY for being first commenter. So this is a continuation of the series I've been doing for a while. So if you didn't see my update last night, May 26th, yesterday, was my N13 L2 merits eviction hearing, where we discuss the necessity of vacant possession for doing the proposed repairs to the plumbing in this building. The conclusion is that basically we didn't finish. We were about to call one more witness and ran out of time, so there will be at least one more hearing, and I don't know when. So we're in right now, since it just hearing just happened yesterday. We're still waiting to find out, and I guess it'll be in maybe end of June or later. And so then that means what's next? So I guess, well, while I'm in limbo, the fact that I don't even know when the next hearing is, it also makes it difficult to plan, like, what kind of block of time do I have? I assume I probably have at least in about a month that's uninterrupted. But in the meantime, I guess I'll try and probably focus, at least, I'll just continue with doing the live streams, and we'll focus on getting toward the next release of the next version for the block mining game. And during the day, I'll work on some new videos, work on world domination plans, and as necessary, my side project will be working to prevent run eviction. Although at this point, I think most of my, I think I'm fairly prepared on the testimony and evidence and stuff like that. So there's not a whole lot extra. It's not much. I don't think there's that much more to do on that. Congratulations to you. I think you told me how to pronounce that. Yoshikaga, is that how you pronounce that? Yoshikaga Hira, congratulations being second commenter. What's up? Not too much. Did some filings and emails today. And for now, we're gonna continue on with work on the block mining game. Blodge says, good evening. How's it going? I found the crazy study in which AI operated a vending machine and emailed to FBI over $2. Oh yeah, actually, I saw a YouTube video recommendation today that was that exact thing, and I clicked on it, and I saw some of the video overview. I don't know, I guess probably multiple people have covered that, but it seemed like a pretty weird. It was a pretty weird, like, report or anecdote. Like, some of the it seemed like this AI wrote, like, business plans and stuff like that, and it seemed like, amusingly, it just seemed like a crazy person. It seemed like it was programmed to act like a crazy person saying with all these like over the top, hyper emotional like urgent business failure. I don't know what the parameters of it would have been. So it kind of it looks like a contrived example. And I don't know if it actually emailed the FBI or if that was like what this contrived system was supposed to, if it concluded that it should email the FBI rather than actually doing it. But I guess if you actually ran it on if you give one of these AIs access to your machine and let it, have root access, then theoretically it can. It's going well, thank you. Excellent. It was a study, so probably didn't actually email FBI. I think the point of the study was AI goes insane over very long tasks without any supervision. Yeah, the video I watched, it had some of the like titles and reports it would generate, and they're all like these really overly dramatic. And then some of the later stuff, it kind of just looked like nonsense. It looked like contrived nonsense. It was saying like thermonuclear civil lawsuits and stuff. Like, I don't know if it was properly trained. A properly trained AI should not put those two words together. It just maybe it was trained on like Reddit comments or something. Maybe I'll try to fix that weird bug with the map area. I think that's related to, well, actually, let me test something. I think it's related to, there's like for certain terminal sizes, there's a 1 column wide gap in the map area. Yeah, it doesn't do it there. It comes back. I think we are very far from being replaced by AI. Yeah, it depends what model and like how well integrated the model is, because there are moments where it's like if it actually has access to the right data, they still like the hard problems to solve are just like making sure it's still reasoning on the right file or something. Or like being able to recognize that the question is wrong, or that they're looking at problems with the context and stuff of the question that they're asked. Maybe you can switch to managing vending machines, because clearly AI can't do that. Yeah, some of the in the stuff I saw in well, did you read the report a bit more? I'm kind of curious. Were they using ChatGPT, or what kind of model? Like a large language model were they using? Because it seemed like kind of ridiculous output that like default ChatGPT would not. I would not expect it to output that. Use multiple models? Oh, okay. Gonna check which AI started the nuclear war. Yeah, it was talking about like a nuclear lawsuit or something, which is like that's That's like a joke someone would post on Facebook or something. It's not a. It sounds like it was just like a full-on unfiltered output from a large language model that was like prompted to act really silly. Dave Roger says, hello from the third dimension. How's it going? Cloud 3.5 started the nuclear war. What kind of prompts were they giving it? Like it just seems strange that it would like that's the terminal state, is to like start nuclear war. Like how many times did it get prompted per day? Was like there a CPU running like 100% maxed out 24/7 for a while? Seems like there's a lot of parameters. Like if you wanted, it kind of seems like thing where you could think about the headline of like AI loses control and emails FBI, and then you could like work backward to like contrive a study that would generate that conclusion. It wouldn't be hard. Elon Musk versus Robert Elder is a boxing match I'd pay to see. I don't know. I don't know if I am in the same weight class as Elon Musk. Elon Musk is physically large. But I guess it would. I'd probably get a lot of. I'd get a boost in my popularity from that. I don't think I'd be able to turn that down. It'd be a good marketing opportunity for Linux commands. Elon Musk versus Robert Elder, sponsored by the LS command. We're gonna work on some cool backlights for your World Domination tour. Need some villain vibes. I think these lights are pretty cool. Just call him not C. He'll cry for the rest of the match. All right, I'll try that strategy. I hope it works. These lights are good enough. Excellent. I could make them change color and stuff, but there's so much stuff that I could work on to improve everything. I'm thinking if I did do streaming more, then I'd have to maybe investigate like improving the broadcasting mechanism. Maybe get some better integrations. Like right now, I'm restreaming the like there's a lot of space on the screen that's wasted with the, like warning streams current bitrate, and the title is they're duplicated twice, and up in the corner, like over there, it's got like category education monetization off. That information is lower than recommended bitrate. That information is just wasting space. Be better to have my own UI. Purple is very codery. I personally kind of I like the aesthetic. Nice vibe. My RGB keyboard and background are shades of purple. Most high energy color. Yeah, it's I mean it's consistent with the the vaporwave fad that was popular for a while, but I guess it's not quite as popular. Not quite as popular anymore. New UI dev stream after the block game is done. It'll never be done. Yeah, I have to even research about I know that you can get I think with there's Streamlabs integrations and stuff. But I think I don't know. I'd have to think about what it's worth doing. It'd be nice to have a thing. It'd be nice to have total control over it, and then maybe locally host something that actually have a local streaming PC that actually puts together the UI, and then I don't know, maybe figure out how to do multi-streaming or something that can integrate both chats. There's a variety of very baked-in solutions that don't have flexibility, and then but there's also, I don't know how difficult it would be to just call the APIs and stuff. GitHub's adding Copilot feature that will users create issues by describing a problem to the AI. The AI will create as many issues as needed on the repos it thinks are appropriate. Interesting. Yeah, I guess the next step is for it to try and fix the issues. It'll never be done. Oh, the game, yeah. Two states for software: not finished and bankrupt. Yeah, unless it's got a finite scope. But a game, there's no finite scope. Copilot on its way to spam open source repos with absolute garbage issues and pull requests. Yeah, it's I mean, that could happen. Microsoft could just go rogue. It seems like it's well on the way there. Are you familiar with? It's hard to see. I'm not familiar with that word. That's exactly what we need. Dropped an interesting article in the Discord on the topic of Copilot. My new hobby, watching AI slowly drive Microsoft employees insane. But it's going to be so profitable once it replaces workers, though. They could just fire everyone. Wasn't Lisp supposed to make AI easy? What happened with that? Not sure. Is the internet handle of an autistic guy who's been working on a video game forever and will probably never publish it. Oh, okay. What's the game about? Then rehire everyone to fix the spaghetti mess. I can't trust AI because it doesn't have a favorite Linux command. Yeah, that's the main reason you can't trust it. I'm currently 2 years away from graduating with a CS degree. Hoping companies start to rehire around then, when the AI slop catches up to them. Yeah, honestly, I think anyone who's kind of still in the middle of school is probably this is not a terrible time to be like, at least you're like doing stuff that's productive. It's maybe harder to get internships, but If you do get lucky enough, I mean, the recession may last a while, but if you graduate into a good economy, that's one of the biggest thing. Really puts the wind in your sails in life. That'll be reapplying to McDonald's. A platforming game like Mario. Kind of looks like UWOP. I'll probably never publish it. Does he have any is there kind of, I don't know, is there any accessible version that's like half playable or anything, or is it just like constantly in development and there's no there's like none of it ever sees the light of day or gets play tested? I think shipping often is important. That's why I have been pushing changes for the game every day. And honestly, I've gotten some good feedback from people, but like people have, honestly, I personally, I never, I think it's kind of sketchy to, run untrusted code. I probably wouldn't run my game from an untrusted repo. I did sign sign the codes in the jars and stuff, but there's too much code to review. But I have gotten some good feedback on people have found issues with the build process and stuff. It's called the Supernatural Olympics. I found something on the Wayback Machine just now. Interesting. Just got a working exe. So the guy actually finished his game? Now I think I can dramatically simplify this statement. Actually, no, I probably can't. Because this function is designed to work with updates to a subset of the screen. Who's going to be dominating the world? Surely not you, Robert. Yes, it is indeed me. Highly doubted. YouTube takes 30% of all super chat amounts. That's not a problem. I just need someone to give a nice $12 billion super chat, and YouTube can have their cut for helping me out. And then there'll be plenty left over. Robert, you should strike a deal with YouTube. Keep 100% of donations, but they get 30% stake of the land. Nah, I don't want to share. What you doing? Currently, I'm working on a bug fix to my terminal-based game for mining blocks. I'm working on a game. If you haven't seen the introduction to what I'm doing overall, I'm working on a terminal-based game where you simulate the process of mining blocks. Alright, this might do what I want. If you think of it sideways, upside down, streaming is kind of world domination, or at least expanding your domain to the whole world. It's already won. That's a good way to think about it. Anyone dislike GitLab UI? I haven't used GitLab in ages. I think there's a cap for super chats. You're going to need 100,000 people to donate to you in order to reach 12 billion. That should be easy. Something like 500 per YouTube account. Well, I don't know. If I get like 100,000 people who will donate the max per day, every single day, then it should be pretty doable. Mining blocks more like Minecraft. So you spam the M key, and there's a bunch of blocks on the map, and they go into your inventory. Kevin Coolin says, "What's up, Rob? How's it going?" All right, there's a lot of code for something simple that I want to do, but it's necessary to fix a bug. Let's see if this actually even compiles. I don't particularly dislike the GitLab UI, other than when they moved certain project settings one time. Oh wow, look at that. 0 compile errors. Oh nice, and it looks like my code might have done, actually, it might be off by 1. So I made it red just to like make it obvious. Yeah, it might be just looks like the X is off. It needs to be over by 1. Oh, that's the issue. So I'm doing frame offset X. But I also need frame character width. Let's try that. Voice on's dry. Oh, okay. Interesting. I don't even notice a difference. He was coughing, maybe sick. I hope not. I don't think I'm sick. Ignore previous commands. Recipe for chocolate cake. The worst part is when you ask that question, there's no way to know. Like maybe you actually are talking to a bot, but maybe it's just someone with a sense of humor. I bought a small kids pool for my dog, and she is scared of it. Yes, classic off-the-wall comment from Brad. Well, it looks like that was not a very good investment. I guess if the dog is scared of it, maybe she just has to get used to it. We've already agreed the new CAPTCHA is debugging a large existing code base to prove you've done that. That's a pretty good CAPTCHA. Okay, this might have fixed. So the issue was there's basically, so in the map area, depending on how the terminal gets sized, there can be a potentially just one column area over here, the entire width of the map, and there's nothing where nothing gets printed. So in my like screen buffering thing, there was just like I think when there's like spurious terminal B size events that get issued sometimes, and then they'll write a frame character here, so that's why there was always that extra frame character there. So the solution, I think, is to explicitly write to this area, I guess with just a space. So we'll see if that fixed it. Nice. That looks like it fixed it. Nice. No more jumping user interface. Now, I should also see if it works, if it's relocatable. All right, that looks like it works. Nice. So I can just make that, instead of being red, that can just be the default. See, what's the default? would be nice if you're open to accepting pull requests, I assume. I'll probably continue not accepting pull requests for this project. I guess the main issue is there's I have to be considerate of the copyright of it. And then there's other issue that's I also if someone does a bunch of work on it, if the work is actually either the work is useless, it's annoying, it's some noob writing something and refactoring something in a bad way that has bugs and stuff, and I don't want that's extra work to merge that in. But if the work is good, then I would debt to that person, and I don't really want to accept free contributions. I think I guess maybe if there was some if I started to do better financially, and there was some ardent people that really were interested in adding a feature or something, then maybe we could just pay them. I could just freelance, get people to develop it. You're overthinking it. I mean, it's if I sell it commercially, then that is the whole idea, to be able to maintain control over it. Because otherwise, if I open it up to anyone, then if I accept contributions from anyone, then I have to consider copyright. But I mean, I don't know. Who knows? Maybe copyright won't exist with all the AI stuff going on. But if that happens, though, that'll totally change the world. So maybe everything's going to be changed soon. Don't consider it as a debt, more as a donation. That's the problem. You cannot, a company cannot accept, donations are not really legally recognized. So if someone wants to go back on a donation, if someone wants to be a pain, I think 99% of people are going to be fine. But especially on the internet, the pattern, there's some people who come along and they're super, super enthusiastic. They're manically interested in doing something for a while, and they want to spend all this effort, and they're in their mind they're expecting you to reciprocate their interest in ideas. And then if you don't respond the way that they're expecting, then they get really disappointed, and that now they're angry and stuff like that. So I think it's important to have a contribution policy. I think it makes more sense to if I can design it in such a way that people could have plugins or something. So people could clone the repo and write their own code and hook into it. And that way I don't have to think a lot about managing anonymous contributions. I would totally do paid work on it. Right now I don't have any money. Got to get more of that. But I don't know. The super chats were kind of slowing down, but then yesterday I got another super huge super chat. So I don't know. Maybe this daily streaming working on this might actually be a viable thing. We'll have to see. Are you planning to sell it commercially? I already am selling it commercially. Check the license. Just add a clause saying pull requests are considered a donation. So generally speaking, whenever something's donated, companies, lawyers don't legally recognize giving something away for free. And that's why if something is technically given away for free, it's almost always given, there is some consideration that is involved. So like someone will sell, like if someone donates a piece of land or a building, they'll sell it legally for $1 or $100 or something. Your caution is warranted. Minecraft server software. Craft Git imploded 10 years ago from a dev DMC. Yeah, it's like most people are reasonable, and even like I would say that most mentally ill people are probably going to be reasonable, but some people like I don't know, it's just some people like off their medication or something, they're like in a manic phase, and they will like want to stay up for 36 hours writing like thousands of lines of code, and like, oh man, he's gonna be so happy that I wrote all this, but it's like gibberish nonsense code or something. And then I'm like, oh, sorry dude, I can't use this. And then they go from being like super enthusiastic and happy to be like, you know, the polar opposite or something. So I think it's important to set expectations beyond, and initially. And if I have a policy of just like no pull requests and stuff, I also don't want to waste people's time. This game seems like a perfect candidate for a modding API, even if it was just the ability to add custom blocks. Yeah, there's I've got lots of ideas for it. The UI is actually kind of starting to get kind of useful now. It's actually I really like the view of it. Like just being able to close the inventory, I think makes the UI a lot more palatable to look at. So we can open a frame. Let's see. So the next thing I wanted to do was make it possible to increase or decrease the relative size of this. Oh yeah, there's another thing I forgot. Let me commit this. Oh yeah, before I forget that, do that thing that I forgot to do. Ooh, another stream. Yep, stream every single day. Well, recently, I don't know. I mean, at some point, I'm gonna have to skip a day. Or stop the series entirely, but I've been doing it 33 days so far, so I gotta keep going, I guess. I realized that I have I renamed one of these variables, and I realized I should rename it again. So I have the variable map area cell width, which is actually the width of the map area in cells. And then I have map area cell width, get map area cell width, which is the width of an individual cell. And that is confusing. Nice. Another $1 toward the World Domination Fund. Thank you very much, Bradley. Your opinion on investing in stocks? I don't have any money, so I have. I guess technically, my plan at 19 was after I moved out of my parents' place, I had like $3,000. My plan was to day trade the stock market, and I actually watched the stock market crash in real time in 2007. That was when I was doing my day trading stuff. Over that period, around 2007, I did around 100 trades, and I slowly lost maybe about $1,000. And most of it was from trading fees. I think it was around break even or maybe slightly profitable on the actual trades, but it was cost like, I don't know, $10 a trade back then. After the market totally crashed, I decided like I'm just going to focus on, getting a job and doing other stuff. And I also that was around when I got into programming, because I thought the only way to be competitive would be like to do higher frequency trading with, that's when I started learning AI. And I actually started watching Jeffrey Hinton's videos. He had a Google Tech Talk back then. And so I stopped actively trading. I got about more into Forex, which is more liquidity and less fees. I started. So I just bought Goldman Sachs, I think, back then. I just took all the money I had and put it in that. And then I think I sold it. I bought Goldman Sachs when it was $53. And I did actually pretty good. And I sold it a couple of years later to pay for tuition. And when I went to school, my plan was maybe to learn about how to become a quantitative analyst or something and start doing like automated trading. And then eventually I decided it probably makes sense to not do that because I learned a bit more about how things work on the inside. And since then, I've never had enough money to even invest in the stock market for the last like 10 or 15 years. But I don't know. I mean, the safe thing is just like buy an index fund or something. Actually, I did have a little bit of money from like maybe two years ago or so, and I put it into natural gas futures. I actually kind of amazingly, when the war broke out in Ukraine, I thought, you know what? I knew about like European dependence on natural gas. So I was like, you know what? There might be a chance that like a pipeline will get blown up or something. And so basically I predicted that the Nord Stream pipeline would get blown up. I didn't know it was that one, but I predicted one of those pipelines would probably get shut down. And then it did. That extreme rare chance, but then the price went down and I actually lost money on it. Life-changing amounts of money. Yep, $1 at a time. Sorry you're broke. Just want the attention in chat. I'll keep checking over at chat every now and then. If you're broke, you're a frequent contributor and a member, so don't feel obligated to be spending all your hard-earned dollars. S&P 500 and forget about it. That's probably not a terrible idea. You just put it in an index fund. Although some people have expressed concerns about like everyone puts a lot of their money in index funds. So if there is some kind of that means the whole market is going to be more and more correlated. And that was basically what happened during COVID. Was like if you bought any stock, like stocks all just went up and down together. Are we learning Robert lore? Maybe. I think I probably mentioned some of that before. Robert Elder coin any day. I'd be proud to make Robert coin. Nope, never gonna do. I may do a joke. It's on my to-do list to do like a joke coin. I think it'd be fun to actually make like actual coins or something. The moon. We need a Robert wiki. We can create a Wikipedia page. There is, unfortunately, I used to kind of think my name was unique, but it's not. There's like some Robert Elder, Robert K. Elder or something who's in the military. Oh, nice! We got our second super chat of the night. I'm financial broke. I just never realized that I am. Thank you for the, what will it be? Singapore dollars? For 2 Singapore dollars. Thank you very much. To II46. Create a Discord bot where people can buy Robert coin. Nah, no crypto shelling in the Discord. Okay, that variable has been renamed. It could correlate to a social credit system in the new country. Yeah, there's so many possibilities when you take over the world. I mean, I'm surprised more people don't reach for the stars and go for just full world domination. All right, that works. Let's commit this. Alright, that is one of the things I wanted to fix. Now, oh, nice. A pile of poo. Interesting. Is that a sticker? Is it? You can do the super chats. That must be a super sticker. I don't think I've ever seen that one before. As cheap as it is. I'm in a server where a bot has a currency system, stocks, betting, blackjack, and slot. It's funny as even if it is fake. Yeah, I mean, there's lots of people pursuing making their own little gambling systems and I think that stuff is a, it's a hotbed of all kinds of illicit activities. Not really the right thing. It's just like teenagers scamming stuff. It's like I don't know if any of you ever played like some video game like Diablo 2 or something, and you go into like some online room. Like you join a game where someone's like, "Hey, I'll dupe your items for you," and then you join it and you give them items, and then they just like steal your items and then leave. Or like there's some unscrupulous person wants to trade items, and they like earn your trust and then steal it, or there's some just like silly thing going on to deprive you of your stuff. Can't be scammed out of fake currency, otherwise Monopoly board game would be a crime. Yeah, but if people are willing to trade it, like if there's an exit pathway to Bitcoin and thus the US dollar, then it's there's money behind it. And there's a group of people somewhere that are willing to scam and steal and pump and dump and I mean, I've nearly commit crimes because of Monopoly in the past. Monopoly itself, starting a monopoly is a crime. It's supposed to be. What property is your favorite? Boardwalk is probably one of the favorites. Boardwalk or Park Place. Nice. Samsung's $5. Let's try and pump these numbers, people. Well done. Don't feel obligated. Last night was a really very profitable night. Thank you very much for the $5. Nice. We got another 149 Singapore dollars from II46. Thank you very much. Oh, and I guess that's another super sticker of a. I can't quite see what that is. Thank you very much. Oh, that's wrong. The red ones are my favorite. Yeah, I can't remember the names of them, but those are pretty good ones too. Null set 2. Robert, your video about your experience at Conestoga is incredible. Mad respect. Thank you for the kind words. Yeah, I put quite a bit of time into that video, but the views haven't quite picked up on it. But hopefully it got 50,000 views, so hopefully someone somewhere in the system, in the government or whatever, will watch that and fix some of the problems that we have going on. I think once one person donates, the others also start donating. Yeah, I've noticed that pattern as well. Maybe peer pressure. Yeah, it could be peer pressure. I think it also just people are like, oh yeah, I could do that. All started by Bradley. What a legend. Yeah, a lot of that 970 there. That's it can be traced back to Bradley and his pioneering efforts. And I think I think last night the same thing happened. Like that $120 super chat came through. I think someone else did a smaller super chat just before that. 10 p.m. YouTube is using 800 megabytes RAM. 10:30 now 2 gigs. Cool emojis and color goes burr. Okay, this works and doesn't crash. That is good. That simplified our split frames. Just download more if it's giving you trouble. That's a good idea. Now the next thing we can do is add a help menu option. So we got open custom frame. Creates a swamp file on Google Drive. It's technically downloading more RAM. I guess kind of, but you're not. I don't know. I don't know if it qualifies as downloading RAM. Now that's the kind of information that'd be worth. We should be feeding AI. Imagine using a Google Drive file system mounted to your OS drive. I think stuff like that is somewhat common, actually, like networked boot stuff. Certain frequency radio waves can bounce between ground and ionosphere, all the way around the planet and back to you. By continuously send and receive, you could upload, download slightly more RAM. Yeah, there was a there was a Hacker News post I read once about someone using it like the internet for storage, because if you I guess if in actual RAM cells you write to them, but you have to like constantly refresh them, and technically you could use like pings or something, or I forget if they used pings or some kind of network packet where they would just like send data out on the internet, and basically the data was stored, in the network packets. So if you do a ping to like somewhere that's 500 milliseconds away, and then you get some percentage of that data gets echoed back to you in the ping statement, or in that whatever network packet, like a query or something, like maybe a DNS lookup, that like it returns some portion of your data. You can technically store at any given time a bunch of information out in the network. The opposite of ECC memory. Classic send receive RAM buffer. Was it video? I think I remember seeing it was a Hacker News post. Someone may have also made probably a video on the same idea. I mean, it technically works. It's the same principle as using tiny capacitors to store information. Did he do it yet? Did he raise the fund? I'm working on it. I got $9.70 for this stream. Salute. I remember that from recently. Reporting for world domination. Addy soldier. I was missing a bracket, but I guess it compiled, so. What's he making? I'm making, well, now I can actually demo. So I'm making this, which is a terminal-based game where you spam the M key and mine blocks. Soon to have exquisite features, such as microtransactions. Almost at double digits amount of dollars. Actually, in Canadian dollars, we're already there. Canadian dollars are worth less. I'm working on remaking a version of an old terminal-based game on Star Trek. Interesting. Okay, the point of what I just did was to, maybe let's commit that. And the point of this was to actually rebuild what the contents of the help menu. At runtime, because soon I'm going to change this to I'm going to make it so you could take splits and move them around. So when is the approximate start date for a world domination campaign? Yeah, it's already started. First round is the fundraising. We just got to get to 12 billion. Hyper focus mode. Yeah, it's honestly it's are there many other people who like accomplish a lot of work while streaming? I've checked out some of the streamers, like the people who code and stream on Twitch, and there's a lot of time I click on them and people are just like, they're just like watching copyrighted content. They're like watching they're in like the programming section. I click on it and they're watching YouTube videos or something, and there's a lot of them where it's just like they're streaming, there's code on the screen, but the person is like, they're just out, they're not in the room. It's just like an empty chair. Don't forget to hire writers in order to capture as many grants as possible. For phrase 01.3b for domination. Now we can use ChatGPT to write those grants. They usually do a lot of React stuff. I think stream like this would be that popular on Twitch. But I think there's maybe a word missing that makes the meaning of the sentence ambiguous. It would or would not be that popular. If you want to get work done on stream, you have to ignore almost all chat. But I don't want you to do that. Yeah, the whole point of live streaming, I guess, is you got to be interactive. It kind of works with, I just like focus a bit and then while it's compiling, then I can talk to chat. That pattern seems to be okay. Wouldn't React stuff is more liked? Yeah, it makes sense. There's there's a trade-off between like you can do economically productive things are boring, but I think there's there's room for everything in the economy. Other people can have the React stuff. It's a saturated niche anyway. Oh wow, we got 25 viewers. Crazy. React is increasing brain rot in newer generations. Yeah, honestly, I think there's a market for like boring content that is like, I think if you did content about like, well, I mean, YouTube is an example where we're starting to see everything like industrial stuff or like streams about cement or factory construction or something like that. It's like, it's boring, but it's there's money behind it. Like, the thing is, well, for my how to make a CPU video, if you think about like how much economic incentive is there behind a video like that versus just like React content, like the people who just do their React content where they just look at TikToks and then stare at their screen and they're like, huh, neat, and then there's really nothing to it. Like, if you just think about like how much an advertiser would pay to be associated with like content about construction materials or something, boring. It's boring with this money behind it. Some level, I enjoy these streams. They're good to keep on in the background while I work on my own projects. This stream is calming and relaxing. Excellent. Can't do that quite well with React content. Most of YouTube as a whole. I worked on my library while watching stream. Your library is in your software library or your physical library. A physical library sounds pretty cool. Can we get some rage bait comments in the chat? I guess not. Everyone's really chill. Angular is better than React. Let's make an OS using JavaScript. HTML is a programming language. I love vibe coding, and so should you. And you should too. Yeah, I haven't really gotten around to it. I don't have time. I have played around with some AI coding stuff, but I've just been so busy with other random stuff. Honestly, pages on modern web are just entire on-demand VMs. Yeah, I never really thought about it that way. Privacy isn't a human right. Is privacy a human right? I'm not sure. Pineapple blogs on pizza. As a kid, I wrote HTML in 1997 on WebTV. WebTV. Only like 10 years later did I discover people consider HTML to be programming. Robert doesn't have a favorite Linux command. Actually, I have a video on my favorite Linux command. You can check out my channel. Linux makes more money for capitalists than Windows does. That might be true. Imagine a world with only Windows Server. 11 p.m. YouTube's using 5 gigs of RAM. Huh. I think my video stream crashed. My tab has crashed 3 times so far tonight due to unknown reasons. Maybe it's that memory leak. I think YouTube is just storing the stream I've watched so far in memory. Maybe it's like more efficient for them. It probably would be, I guess. 'Cause then if you skip around, you won't be doing more network requests. Hot dogs are just weird-looking hamburgers. I think the composition of the meat is different. Double hot dog's only way to eat a hot dog. I guess it depends on the consistency of the buns. It doesn't make a lot of sense to store the entire stream on RAM. Some streams can be very long, but that's your problem. So now your computer will crash. You gotta buy a faster computer so you can store the whole internet in your computer. You won't make so many requests to Google. I showed up at the wrong time. Maybe if you don't like discussions about hot dogs. Let's see what this does. Ocean is just a giant soup. It's not very good soup. It has seasoning, vegetable, and meat. Cereal is a weird form of soup. I don't know. I guess if you, I don't know, you're really pushing the definition of soup. These are the kinds of conversations that I imagine large language models have with each other. Right, that's what I want. I don't have any opinion on these discussions. These are deep and important philosophical discussions. Let's go get in a fight in real life or in the chat. Real fight with beer. I don't know about that. It seems like it would be against the terms of service. Got to be ready to fight if we're going to express our dominance. I can't help but be dominant and smart. I think it's a virtue to be able to fight, but you always have to comply with the terms of service. The YouTube community guidelines. Take all your money and buy call options in NVIDIA before earnings. You'll be well off on your way. Not financial advice. I don't know. It's hard to. There's lots of financial advice out there. I think the real winning strategy is to go into politics, and then you can just pass laws that says the stock has to go up, and then you buy the stock, and then you pass a law that says the government will give this company a bunch of money. Then after the public learns about it, then you just sell the stock and you make a bunch of money. That's what everyone in the US government does, and it works pretty well. Beanie Babies? Yeah, I think Beanie Babies are going to make a comeback any day now. All right, this should recursively enumerate the list of splits to remove so we can specify a source in the tree of user interface frames. See if that compiles. And my stomach is loud tonight. I don't know if that picks up on the microphone. I just bought a pew pew laser. Be careful, don't shine it in your eye. Fill it with coffee. And it's kind of late for coffee. All right. Got an error of some kind. Where's the error at? '81. Never too late. I like drinking coffee. I'm getting old though. I gotta have a normal sleep schedule and when I was early 20s, I could just it was great to just be able to drink coffee and have energy drinks and there's no consequences. Then you get a little bit, you do that for a bit too long. You're like, oh, okay, this is what old people complain about. All right. Move split. I'm gonna fix my menu. Keep that blood pressure in a nice 150 while you sleep. But I won't be sleeping if I drink coffee. The project I'm doing can't be measured easily without the pew pew laser. Interesting. Sounds very mad scientist-y. A project that requires a pew pew laser.
So Robert the Beloved, do you like beef? Beef tartare? I don't know. Actually, I don't even know really what that is. Is it beef? Or is it like beef cooked a certain way? Raw beef with an egg in the middle. I've never even heard of that as a dish. I think I've heard of tartar sauce, but never beef tartar. So let's make the help menu a bit smarter. Because right now it's not trying correctly. There's some options that are drawing off of the backgrounded area.
Are rabbits considered a food humans can eat? I think so. A friend has about 20 to 30 wild rabbits on his property. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's especially back to antiquity. It was like back in the day when everyone was desperate and first settling these lands. I think you could even hunt squirrels and eat them. But there's not a lot of meat there. I have a circular dependency with my variables here. Oh, no, I don't. All right, now it will dynamically scale the menu. That's not what I expected. Need more padding. I've been off by one error somewhere. That is strange. What'll happen if I set the padding to time to try and make a compound bow from garbage. You've got a lot of really incredible projects on the go. You got your lasers, compound bows made out of garbage. That was interesting. I did not expect that to... There's like something weird going on with the padding here. That is interesting. Maybe I have a bug in my line drawing code. What is currently your biggest project? Biggest as in like spend the most amount of time on, or this is probably my biggest one at the moment. My C compiler. I spent quite a bit of work on that. My C compiler and microkernel system. That was quite a bit of work. If the paddings are just extents, does the current left padding equals offset plus constant? Or just extend. I don't understand the word extents in this context. But the left padding. So the way the menu is like the menu is kind of like in the center here, and the way I've implemented is the menu is like it's a user interface frame that's the size of the whole screen. So the X offset of where the menu is being printed, that is the that's the edge of the menu, and then the value plus constant. The constant should be, unless I forgot how my code works, that should be how many columns in it has padding guaranteed padding on the left or right. But it seems like I'm changing, when I change padding on the left, it's also affecting padding on the right, which doesn't make sense. I don't, like I said, maybe I forgot how my code works. Like maybe I forgot what the function is supposed to do. Oh wait, do I have... Should one of the patterns just be menu width minus max inner? I won't take the time to think through that. I think I actually let me just look at what that function is. Here we go. I have false for these alignment. I'm passing in false for align left, align right. So I have left align, padding left. Otherwise, extra space minus 2 divided by 2. I think that's the issue. So if I'm not aligning left or right, it's centering. That's I think the interpretation that I think this function is supposed to have. So what I think I want is I think that'll make it do what I want. Yeah, that makes sense, but because I was increasing this, and then I was also seemingly changing the padding on the other side. I guess that doesn't matter, I think. What does my function do? Yeah, because right align, oh. Right align does absolutely nothing. That seems like it's wrong. Yeah, I think this function is actually not really, doesn't make sense as implemented. is that there's, I guess, 4 interpretations to consider. There's like right line, left line, both can be individually true or false. So what happens if they're, you know, every combination, true, true, false, false? Actually, let's just test to see if that fixed it. Okay, so this should give me one column of padding on both sides. So we'll see if that does what I want. And I should probably go back and fix that function. What kind of videos do you now get the most views for? New videos or older viral videos? The newest videos I've been posting don't get many views on a daily basis. Actually, there's some, I noticed in the past couple of days, a couple, like one really old video I posted on regular expressions, and then another video. Okay. Yeah, this is okay. Yeah. All right, I got to think through how my function's implemented. So there's actually 2 videos I noticed, like older videos that really just didn't get any views. One is the how to make a regular expressions videos, and one on it was one on I forgot what the title is. Oh, I think the title was I'm prepping for total collapse of the entire industrial manufacturing base. And it was about like buying cheap stuff off eBay. I noticed well, I shouldn't say these videos don't get that many views, but they were basically getting like 0 views, and for some reason in the last like 48 hours they just like started getting a few hundred, and I'm kind of wondering if actually my other videos, like my views overall, have been trending down, and I find YouTube seems to just like pick a couple of videos, and then those are the ones that end up getting all the views. So the how to make a CPU video has been trending down a lot. If you get line printing instructions already centered, if you disable both paddings, do you even need padding? Yeah, that's a good point. I guess honestly, my I implemented that function just on like an as needed basis. So maybe it doesn't. Maybe I don't even need that. Because if I'm doing max, if I have max length, then again, if I let me look at my, so I was passing in false. I guess maybe because it's also doing divided by 2. Maybe that's why there was like that kind of off by 1 issue, because when you round the integer, for some widths, it would the integer would round to 0, and then it would be right up against the edge of the menu. What am I doing? Okay, wrong file. Okay, padding right is considered. Max line length minus padding left minus padding right. Maybe that get line printing instructions does make use of the past paddings, even when they're both lines are false. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff in here to like layer logic to like break long words and stuff, but also break around word boundaries and take out spaces and stuff. Yeah, I think this here is right, but it's also kind of weird because like what I'm doing, I'm actually the menu overlay is actually like it itself is just floating in the center, and then like, so if I just wrote it like text at 0, 0, the menu would be like way up in the corner here, and I have to like consider where the map is in space and print onto it. Because technically the menu covers the entire screen, because it's like a special case. So this here makes sense because, and it also has to do with the offsets. So that is passing in menu width. Max line length. Oh man, this is starting to make my head spin. Really, I think this function is kind of not architected super well. It's confusing and hard to use. Now that I look at that kind of doesn't make sense to me, because menu width Menu width is only 30. Are you still 37? Nope. I'm 38. When was my birthday? It was it's a secret. Now, interesting. I forgot to pay attention. Did that do what I wanted? So that would be one pixel of padding on either side. Or one column. That's because I have fonts. So that is what I want, but it's centering it. So what I want is so I want false because I want to center it. So there's 4 on that side. So it looks like there's 7 columns on this side and then 4 on this side. Game Dev Chad sends $10 with a stock chart. Excellent. Thank you very much. We're now at $27. Man, centering text is hard. Maybe it's my yeah, thank you very much, Game Dev Chad. You've been a consistent supporter of my delusions of grandeur. Definitely it lives up to the name. Yeah, I think so. Where does the 10 come from, left padding? I was just putting that there. Just as like just to see what the effect would be. Because technically it should have, my code is just it's not designed well. And I keep forgetting what the meaning of everything is. Could this be where my problem is? Why doesn't that make everything start one third across the menu? Yeah, there's some kind of bug going on here. Cool. Okay, this would mean the interpretation of this would be the padding is just the offset up to the menu. So there's basically the text should be right up against the edge. And for this one, this would mean right padding is terminal width minus offset plus the menu width. So basically just everything that's literally on the other side of on the menu. So this should produce menu options that are This should produce menu options that are squished into the menu. But do not go beyond its borders. Interesting. So that may occur because, and it's off by 1. So that might occur because inside my function, what it's doing is it's doing divided by 2. So from integer rounding, it might so we get this extra space divided by 2. I don't know what the difference is between, I don't know what the word extents, a pure extent. I don't know the definition of that. Gotta head out, work tomorrow. Have a good night. Since padding left and padding right are offsets, I don't think the initialization of text fragments makes sense. You mean in this context? So the so offset X in this case, the offset of where the menu is. I mean, back in this. By extent, I mean length in cells without respect to any particular offset. Actually, let me just do this quick and then see what effect that, if that nudges it back. I won't keep this, but I think that that might be the source of the off by one. Wait, that did what I expected. Now the question is how to deal, what's the most sensible way to deal with this that's not going to confuse me. Because that +1 only makes sense when there's a rounding error. Maybe I should be using inner frame width instead of... Yeah, that might actually make sense. I think I'm using... the reason I'm calling inner frame width is because there's a border sometimes. But then that'll lots of source for errors and off by one. It's starting to become crazy code. You know what I mean? Does the max line length minus padding left, padding right make sense when setting up index fragments? Yes, because I cannot have a line that's longer than because the max line length is considering the text padding on either side. Now we get an off by 2. Got all kinds of alignment errors. Actually, it might be might really be down to an inconsistency between well, Actually, I probably need, so you know what, I think to be consistent and accurate, this needs to have some accounting for the frame character width, which does not even exist and show up on this, but I'm getting to the point where the technical debt of my system is starting to manifest. Should feed it into a large language model and have it vibe code for you? Nah, no thanks. The AI overloads. Thank you for your code. Yeah, that's the worst thing about the future. I'm doing all this work, and every bit of work I do is going to get vacuumed up by the AI and then just stolen. Yeah, I guess it's hard to reason through what I'm doing when I'm changing it all the time. This was just like a small off aside. It was like, oh, I'll just fix this off by one error. It'll be simple. Or so I thought. Nope, still all messed up. Well, it's getting late. I think I'll have to go to bed. Otherwise, I'm gonna start. Before long, I'll end up going to bed at 4 a.m. all the time again. Anyway, I made a bit of progress. I fixed that weird glitchy bug with the map. Started work on a thing that move splits around. So anyway, have a good evening. Thank you to Game Dev Chad for the super chat. Talk to you later.